Good morning and welcome. Happy Liberation Day. It is April the 2nd. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. Have you got your gold yet? Have you been adding to the portfolio? Have you been getting more diversified, acting in your own best interest, being your own central bank, understanding what it is that this Liberation Day, by the way, can you call it Liberation Day? They won't even talk until 4 o'clock Eastern, so whatever they're going to do, it'll be after the markets are closed today. So it's more like, I don't know, Liberation Night? I don't know. We still don't know what the tariffs are going to be. But that will come, like I said, 4 p.m. Eastern. We are being told they will be effective immediately, whatever that means. So I guess, today at some point, we will get our answer, at least somewhat. We got jobs out today, right? It's jobs week. The ADP number came in hotter than expected. So this is not what the central bank wants to see. And again, back to what we said, you got to understand the plan. Grow our way out of it, right? That's when. Out of what? What are we trying to grow out of? Oh, we're trying to grow out of debt. How do you grow out of debt? By creating more debt. I mean, that's simple. What are the tariffs really designed to do? It's just inflation. It's just a tax. I mean, you could call it something else if you want to, right? And I know it sounds good. Well, they're ripping us off. And I saw the press secretary, by the way, very impressive. She is an impressive young lady. And as me being almost 55, I can call her a young lady. She's like in her 20s. But she's good. And she had a list and talking about, oh, my gosh, I don't know, the Canadians tariff our butter for whatever reason by 100%. And India tariffs our food by blah, blah, blah amount, and on and on and on. And it sounds horrible. It does. But why now? Why tariffs now? I mean, come on. We've been down this road for how long? These tariffs aren't new. I mean, whatever these nations were tariffing, right? There's always a reason. It may be a crappy reason, but there's always a reason. Why now? The answer's simple. We got to come up with a way to tax the citizens without telling them we're taxing them. And you know what's great? We can even get, let's call it what it is. We can get half of them to cheerlead about us being taxed. And we'll tell them we're going to bring the jobs home and all that stuff. Listen, most of the jobs, I'll be honest, most of the jobs, they won't come back here. I mean, autos, yes, that's something that can happen. We can get some. Don't get me wrong, we can get some. But most of them have been automated out a long time ago. They really have. Even if, people don't want to believe that, that's just the truth. We need to grow our way out. We need that. Stuff's got to cost more. We got to spend a lot more money. I mean, look at what Moody's already knows. And he's like, this isn't going to, this isn't going to change anything. And then this morning, here's what really creeped me out. 50 Republicans and Democrats want to introduce a sanction package that will put a bill to impose, ready for this, a 500% tariff on imported goods from countries that buy Russian oil, gas, uranium, and several other products. And American citizens would be prohibited from buying Russian sovereign debt. I don't know, I guess people can. That'd probably be more like hedge funds. They're probably ones that would do that. The sanctions against Russia would require tariffs on all these other nations buying all of these products. Like I said, right, the Ukraine war, the peace not going the way we want, and this is dangerous here. People think that, listen, right now, most of the EU countries buy their gas from Russia. Don't fool yourself. That's where it's coming from. Oil, India, China, right? There's no substitute, right? No, Saudi Arabia can pump. Yeah, Saudi Arabia can probably pump, I don't know, an extra 1 million barrels. There's no substitute. And again, this is just ridiculous. But think about this. And the only reason why I bring it up, look, we got the Republicans and the Democrats somehow thinking, hey, that's going to be a great idea. Well, listen, we got to get stuff that costs more. And the best thing that costs more, energy. Why not? Patriot Radio News Hour. Listen, if you haven't called yet, what are you waiting for? 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Hump Day Wednesday. Do you feel liberated yet? Anybody feeling liberated? It's coming. Get ready to get liberated here. Quick look in at the markets. Right now, the Dow's mixed. So the Dow's up 50. The Nasdaq's, let's call it flat. The S&P's flat. The Nasdaq's down 13. The 10-year note, 416, and we'll continue to watch here. We did it, like I said, the jobs number from today. This was the private sector ADP, hotter than expected, and it's still. You know what? Here's the good part. It wasn't super hot, but hot enough. We'll get to that in a minute. Crude oil's up a few cents here, but this news was just breaking. This new. Somebody with another great idea. Yeah, 500% tariff on Russia. Okay, maybe. I'll see. You know what? Got a feeling that we haven't heard the last of this Ukrainian-Russian thing on top of Liberation Day. Gold's up. No surprise here. It's up $10, $31.27. Silver doing silver things all week. It's right near $34, right? $33.90 on silver. Silver's just kind of treading water here, which is, hey, think about what we've been seeing in gold and silver here. New highs, consolidate. New highs, consolidate. You're seeing gold. Look at gold here. Cross $3,100, hasn't looked back. And now it's just consolidating, getting ready to what? Well, getting ready for 32. Silver. We know what we're waiting for. Right? We're one leg higher to the gates ripping open. You know what? I don't care. Don't get diversified. See what happens. See what happens. See how well the tariffs work out. Because I'm hearing nonsense. You know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing all of the people around Donald Trump saying, well, We're going to negotiate it. If these countries take stuff away, we'll take them away. Right? Is that not what all of you are hearing? You know that's nonsense, right? Because what are they really saying? Well, don't actually move the jobs back. Right. Don't do anything. Let's just see if we can bully these countries into maybe lowering some tariffs, and everything will go back to the way it was. Right, Jason? I mean, that won't work.
I don't know.
That won't work.
I don't know what can be done that's going to work. We've been saying for several years now that as soon as the inflation came roaring in 2022, Joe, there's no good play anymore. At least they had the whole drop the rates and print thing when the markets went bad, right, Joe? They always had that for how many years they had that. And now they don't really have even – they can still do that, but it's not going to help the inflation. It's going to hurt inflation. So we've been saying since we're coming on 3 years telling people there's not a good position. Joe, suddenly you are – Lord and controller of the American economy. Well, with the situation that's happening right now, what would you do? Besides changing the system as a whole, because that's what I would do. I'd get rid of the Fed, get rid of the federal income tax, and go through a painful depression, and then everything would be better. But other than that, what would you do to try to float this thing? What can they do?
Well, and again, we know what they say they're going to do. Inflation. Grow their way out, right? Their hope is we can grow faster than the debt that we pile up, right? So somehow, if we can just get the debt to GDP, hey, if we're going to have a $4 trillion budget deficit, okay, it'll be okay if we can have a $60 trillion GDP. Well, the problem is, right, we don't even have 30,000 GDP yet. 30 trillion, I'm sorry. We don't have 30, right? We got to go from 30 to 60 to just say, well, see, it's not that bad. Why do I have the horrible feeling we're going to go from 30 to 40 and still have a $4 trillion budget deficit? Yeah, that math will not work. Now, let's look at ADP jobs this morning. 155,000. That was about 30,000 more than expected. It's not a blowout number or anything like that. But listen, everybody was hoping for something below 100,000. That's what they wanted. This is hotter inside of it. And this is really the important part. Because who knows? Is this real? Is this fake? I don't know. Right? These numbers all get adjusted later anyway. But inside of it, when we look inside of it, wages. Jason, we're sitting here talking about if you stayed at your job, up 4.6%, and if you left your job to get a better job, right, it was up like 6.6%. And again, when you see that number, that tells you, listen, inflation isn't 3% or 2.8 or whatever nonsense they're telling us. There's no relief coming. And as a matter of fact, it's only getting ready to cost more. Now, here's what we know. As things get more expensive, right, we're seeing, I'll call them, the crappier companies go out of business, right? A lot of the companies, they got tons of COVID money, right? They were able to survive and refinance their debt, right? We remember when interest rates are super low? Well, guys, we can refinance our debt, lower our debt payments. Well, now they can't. Why are we seeing all these bankruptcies? Simple. Well, gosh, you can't refinance at that rate anymore. Well, you had a 3%, it's now 7%, right? Yeah, no. That dog don't hunt. By the way, very quiet. Shh. Remember the other day I told you that the powers that be that run the Treasury auctions sent a note to the Fed saying, hey, guys, you better come up with a plan for these hedge funds. I'm just going to tell you right now, these credit swaps, it's starting to get ugly. These credit spreads, in other words, when we look at hedge funds, they're always right. What is a hedge fund? What is the purpose? Well, they try to get outside the gate, right? They're the riskiest of risky, right? That's their job. Hey, we know, okay, let's just say the market's going to get you an 8% return. Well, the hedge funds, they're trying to beat that, right? They're trying to get 10, 12, 15%. Well, how do you beat it? How do you do that? Well, you got to make risky bets and hope you win, right? Where are a lot of money in these hedge funds? They're in these marginal companies. And we're seeing the bank, like Hooters. So it's like we talk Hooters just file bankruptcy. I mean, it happens every single week now. And Jason, I'm just going to say this: with the higher costs that are coming, we're going to see more. Right? It's just going to keep happening. All of these operators, it's one thing to you got rid of the crappy operator. Okay, that's fine. Right? They weren't very good companies anyway. They were barely hanging on. But now we're starting to get into companies. Okay, they may not be the best in class, but they were a decent company. They were run fairly well, right? And now it's going to be something where the pressure on these companies is going to be too much, right? And I think the biggest problem is refinancing of debt. These rates just don't seem to want to cooperate. When we looked at the jobs today, right, they needed a low number, didn't get it. We get jobless claims tomorrow. I have no reason to believe. Why would it be anything more than 225,000? That's just what it's been, right? And then, of course, we get the government number on Friday. Just watch out here. There are a lot of, not a lot of good outcomes. And now there's a lot of outcomes that forget about it. Okay, that wasn't a great outcome. No, there's a lot of outcomes that are really disastrous. And I feel like we're walking into one. This thing with these Republicans and these Democrats talking about this 500% tariff on Russian anything. What are we doing?
That doesn't sound like a good outcome or a good plan. I guess, Joe, you know what that sounds like? They have a thing that they call sanctions. Sanctions is you end the sale of something. So a 500% increase, I guess that's not the end of a sale of something. That's, what is it? When you kidnap somebody and you hold them for ransom, I guess that's ransom. Is that what that is? That's ransom. Sanction means no business. I guess 500% is ransom. If you really want to do business, just give us 5 times the value of that shoe, and then you can sell one.
All right, well, here you go. Bloomberg is citing people familiar with the matter that Beijing is going to restrict companies from investing in the United States as Liberation Day is here. Several branches of the Chinese Economic Planning Agency have been instructed to hold off on registration and approval for firms that are looking to invest in the United States. And they appear, according to Bloomberg, that China now is ready to essentially prevent any of its companies from investing in the United States. So, again, we'll keep watching here. This is a problem, right? We got to have that money, Jason.
we got to have that money, but when the money runs out, we know where it goes, right, Joe? We know where it goes, which compounds the problem, and then you end up wanting to charge your neighbor 500%. It's a snake eating itself, Joe. The only way to stop it is to chop the tail and get the snake to eat something else. You can't just feed upon yourself constantly and feel like there's going to be a good outcome, Joe. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so again, we'll wait. We'll see. Here's the good news. We did get a build in Cushing, Oklahoma for the first time. And gosh, it's been a while. Once again, they added another 285,000 barrels. Boy, they're filling it, I guess, back up, but barely. I mean, at that rate, it'll take like 3 decades to get it back to where it was working. But we'll wait and see as to how all of this will play out. Again, if we want to drill, baby, drill. I guess this is a way to get it. I mean, I hope someone talks to these people and says, "Hey, dummies." Right? I hope Chevron and Exxon and some other people are on the phone saying, yeah, you may want to rethink that plan. We talk about maybe $100 oil. This would be like $200 oil. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
Yes, ma'am.
800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Wednesday, Liberation Day, as we await at 4 Eastern what the new tariffs are going to look like. And I get it. It's a plan. No doubt it's a plan. Is it a good plan? I don't know. There isn't. Well, I do know. No, it's not a good plan. As a matter of fact, it's a terrible plan. But guess what? That's all there was. There wasn't other options. Right? It was, well, I got this terrible plan, or this terrible plan, or this really terrible plan, or this really terrible, right? It wasn't like, hey, we picked a terrible plan, but we had a great plan. No. And I'm promising, you know how I know you don't get it? Because we're still, we're not slow, but we're not busy. You guys should be buying gold and silver hand over fist. And I know. You know what? I just had a guy bought when COVID started. Just called me today. Bought again today. And he said, man, I knew I should have bought a year ago. I knew I should have bought 6 months ago. I keep thinking about it. And finally, okay, I'm going to do it. Right? I'm going to do it. Because I'm starting to think about this Trump thing and, doesn't quite seem to be working out. Now, Jim Cramer was on TV yesterday, the Booyah guy. Right? God, he's I like Jim Cramer. For those of you like, who's Jim Cramer? If you don't watch CNBC, then you don't know who he is. But if you do, he is the cheerleader, right? The buy guy.
Also,
right? If
you're watching a movie and the movie has anything to do with financial markets, they usually get a cameo.
Yes,
by
he's
him.
a cameo. Yes. And he makes lots of headlines. He compared Donald Trump to Jimmy Carter.
Oh, no. That's fair.
Yesterday.
That's fair, but it's also not fair. I think I know where he's going, but it's a stretch. How's that?
Well, I think, and really what he was talking about was, number one, Donald Trump's been bad for the stock market. The economy's good. What's he doing? Blah, blah, blah. Because he's a cheerleader. I know what Donald Trump's doing. They have, and people, you better wake up. We have a problem in our financial markets. And it's not, you know what? It's not Bernie Madoff. That wasn't even a problem, right? This isn't, oh no, well, maybe we got to bail out the banks again. Which that was bad. No, this is a problem in the U.S. Treasury markets. We have a problem. And I know people don't want to hear it. But it's getting ready to break down. Because the debt is, you know, I'll give you an example. Do you know what the debt was 2 years ago? $1 trillion. Then we went to $2 trillion. Now, the word on the street is, well, how close to $3 trillion is it going to be? How about Doge? You know, Doge's getting ready to wrap up, according to Trump. We got nowhere near $1 trillion. I don't even think we got $200 billion out of Doge. They have to grow, and if we don't grow, it's over. I mean, I'm being as honest as I can with you. It is over. We need so much inflation. I don't think people really understand. Because that's just the crappy plan they picked. What was the other crappy plan? Well, the other crappy plan was actually cut government spending, right? You know, think about this. You know what the Republicans did? And they got some Democrats to go with them. Well, let's just keep spending at the same level for the rest of the year, the fiscal year, all the way through the end of August. Let's just do that. But I thought you were cutting. Well, no, we're going to keep, well, we're going to fire some people. We're going to spend the same amount of money. And then what did the Treasury Department tell us yesterday? We got a tax problem. Uh-oh. People are working, but they're working less. We had to send more refunds. Companies aren't making the money. Did you see Tesla today? It's fine. Deliveries were down, 16, 17%. You know, hey, who cares, right? You know, it'll be fine. It's not fine. It is not fine. Get diversified. If you've never done it. You know what's funny? People have known they should buy gold probably since the financial crisis. Now, some of you smart ones knew a lot earlier, but at least since then. And you know how many of them have done it? Hardly any, Jason. They know it. They like to talk about it. But they're going to wait until they get wiped out. This thing ends one way. Remember how it's going to end. And I keep telling you this. You know when inflation's going to end? When everyone gets fired. No, it hasn't happened yet. Inflation's getting ready to get worse. And I hate to say it, but Jim Cramer threw it out there yesterday about Jimmy Carter. You know what Jimmy Carter had? Stagflation. That's what's coming. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and Joe, stagflation can be measured in levels, right? You could have a stagflation that looks dangerously close to hyperinflation, but it's just not going up dramatically every day. So you could have stagflation that's very, very, very destructive. And by trying to inflate your way out of it, that creates the stagflation Joe's talking about, Joe. When we talked about Russia, we're going to 500%, tariff. That, you know what that just sounds to me? That sounds to me like, hey, we're going to be printing a lot of money soon, and since you're just not really wanting dollars, we're going to make all these other currencies dissolve in the next few months and years. And when we print all these dollars up, you better put your hands around a whole bunch of them, right, Joe?
Well, it looks like, wow, maybe sooner than ever. Stocks, they're rebounding on news that Elon Musk may be leaving Doge very soon. We'll be back after the break. Tesla, which was out to the woodshed again, but it's been a tough year for that stock, has turned around. It is now up 4% on word that Elon Musk may be leaving the Doge post very soon. And here's what's unfortunate. We've got to shrink the government. And yes, was there a waste? Yes. Yep, there was. Was it $1 trillion? Remember when they started $2 trillion? Remember that nonsense? No, it wasn't. It's not. Do we got to fire more people? Yes. But as long as they're going to say, we're not going to cut Social Security, we're not going to cut Medicare and Medicaid, and we're not going to cut defense. I'm going to tell you this. Ready? Before 2030, we'll have to do all of them. Every one of them. That's what we're up against. Why do I sit there and tell you, gosh, $3,125 gold is dirt cheap? It's a better buy today than when I started. Gold was $300 when I started doing this. $300. And I'm telling you, at 31 and a quarter, it's a better buy today than it was at 300. Well, how can I possibly say that? Well, the answer is simple. You know, when I started, the debt was $5 trillion. Right? We were at a budget deficit. I don't know what the budget deficit, what was it, $100 billion? You know, something like that. It was fixable. We actually had good options when I first started. We didn't do the good options, but we had them. We just chose not to use them. Now we have, I'll be honest with you, these options, they all suck. They're terrible options. This plan, which, like I said, at least it's a plan. It's terrible. But every plan is terrible. Get it done. I'll tell you what, I'll help out. I'm going to help. I said I wasn't going to do it because, well, quite honestly, you don't deserve it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it one more time. $20 gold pieces, $31.95. Gold right now is $31.28, up $12. And hold on to your hat till 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Word from Scott Bassett all of a sudden. I just saw it breaking. We're going to set tariffs high so that way, you know, they can lower them. You know, these countries can lower them by bending the knee, so to speak. So I don't know what that means. You know, yesterday, remember all the time, is it 20%? I don't know. You know what? We'll wait and we'll see. But just know this. Jobs will not come back if they start lowering these tariffs. They won't. They'll just stay right where they're at. 800-951-0592. How about this? I'll put rolls of silver $50, $270. Rolls of silver dimes $135. On top of $20 gold at $31.95 at 800-951-0592. And I don't know. Well, maybe the Tesla rally. I don't know. The Dow's kind of going the wrong way here. But it's probably more about Scott Bassett now saying, hey, listen, we're going to set some high numbers, but that'll give, you know, these countries can, you know, make some changes, and we can lower them a little bit from there. So we'll see. Jason, I guess we still, on Liberation Day, we just don't know how much we've been liberated yet.
Don't be the guy that comes to me next year and says, I should have bought gold last year. Don't be that guy. I mean, it seems like a lot of our customers say that are buying regularly, Joe. At least if you're buying regularly, you did buy it at a point that has done really well for you. But if you're the guy that's waiting or thinking or trying to decide, or you get busy in your life, it's like, well, I better not do a rash decision. Gold and silver is not really a rash decision. It's savings. Yeah, there's a little premium you pay, and yeah, if you sell it back to us 1 month later, you're probably going to lose a little bit on that premium. But next year, when you're sitting around, okay, I better buy now. I should have bought last year. Don't be that guy.
Let me tell you what it cost you. Last year today, gold was $2,260. It's now $3,129. And the day's not over. You know, and again, what does that mean? Well, are we going to be talking $4,000 gold next April 2nd? Very possible. Matter of fact, here's the problem. Forget about possible. Now, it's going from possible to likely. See, and that's the part that's terrible. Listen, gold's going up the way it's doing. It is telling you, this is your sign. This is your warning. See, the people that are buying it, they already know what's going to happen. We got to act like we don't know. If we know, well, I know. I hope you know. 800-951-0592. Final segment on this Liberation Day. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason wrapping up Liberation Day. $20 gold pieces. $31.95. You got spot gold here. What? $31.30. We've got. By the way, what gold contract are we on now? TV gold. It's the June contract. Yeah, guess what? That's like at $31.70. So, yeah, get ready. Buy it. You know, I'm staring at the phone. It's blank. Rolls a $50. Silver $50 rolls. Save $15 a roll. $2.70. Rolls of silver dimes. $135. At 800-951-0592. I'm
going to say something, Joe. Let me say something.
Go ahead, Jason.
There's a lot of people that I've been talking to recently that said, I just don't know what to do. They know that they listen to the show. They know that they should get some medals. And it's they just look at that $3,000 price tag, and it's just they don't know what to do. We haven't talked much about it lately, but we have the medals program, and if you just simply don't, you want to put some money into it, and you just don't want to have to think so much about it. I have one customer that does the minimum 100. We might have to raise that minimum because you can't really get much with $100 a month for 3 months, and then we deliver you a couple rolls of dimes. I mean, that's what it's going to be. The next quarter, you're going to get 2 rolls of dimes for your $300. But if that's what it takes for you to put something in there without you having to think, it could be automatic withdrawal, just like any other bill. If you're gonna have these companies automatically withdrawing bills from your account, why don't you just have us get you $100 or $200, $300 a month, put it into some silver, some fractional gold every 3 months, and then that way you don't have to have the stress of listening to the show and knowing I should put something in there, and you just don't have it. Because if the phones aren't ringing, that means you probably do want to order some, but you just don't know how to put it in there. So we haven't talked much about the metals programs, but maybe for you guys that are the $100, $200, up to $500 a month, give us a call at the 800 number, 800-951-0592. It's better to get a few pinches of silver every 3 months than to do nothing and be frustrated that you can't buy an ounce of gold every day when we're talking about it, right, Joe?
Yeah, and it's we just finished the latest quarter on the metals plan, and
good time to get in.
Yeah, it's sad to think about. $100. It may not be. How soon is that going to be something where, like you said, I don't know, silver maybe $40 3 months from now, and then of course, right? You're not getting 2 rolls of dimes, right? Yeah, I mean that's.
I mean today's special on dimes, 3 rolls of dimes is $400 essentially. Yeah. So I mean that's just the way it is, and so. If you know you need to do this, and a lot of people, they freeze up because they just don't know how to approach it. Call us. We'll even sit down and have appointments with you. But the metals program can be for the busy American out there. It's a good. We have some customers that are totally just don't understand gold. They understand that they should own it, but they don't really know what to do with it. They've called us. They put in the minimum on the silver. I always think, well, if they would just move the minimum up, they can do faster. But at least they're doing the minimum, right, Joe? At least they're getting something every 3 months. And I highly suggest that if you're frustrated that you can't plunk down $3,000 for an ounce of gold, just join up with the metals program. Call us at 800-951-0592, Joe.
There you go. God bless.